From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. An active weather pattern is threatening to complicate some travel plans across the U.S. for the upcoming holiday. AccuWeather meteorologists are forecasting significant disruptions with icy and snow-covered roads in the Northeast and flooding and avalanche risks ramping up along the Pacific coasts. A series of potent storms is expected to hammer the West Coast through Christmas Day, while precipitation in the central and eastern states will also contribute to some travel woes. Whether by car or plane, travelers should brace for some delays and hazardous conditions on their way to holiday celebrations. About one storm a day will roll ashore along the West Coast from Washington to Northern California. While there may be a slight pause centered around Christmas Day and the storm train, each storm will increase the risk of flash flooding, road washouts, mudslides in the lower elevations, and snow-clogged roads at times with an avalanche risk high up in the mountains. Farther to the east, the combination of a clipper storm, a coastal storm, and Arctic air will lead to slippery travel and even some snow-covered roads for a time from parts of the Great Lakes to the coastal Northeast, even as the snow, wind, and related travel delays diminish early in the weekend. The cold air will linger and may set the stage for more wintry trouble next week. A storm will push across the northern plains with spotty snow near and north of its track. As that storm reaches the Mississippi Valley by early next week, a moisture flow will cause precipitation to become widespread and significant. Areas of rain and fog with embedded thunderstorms are in store for northeastern Texas to the mid-Mississippi Valley and the Ohio Valley states on Monday. The rain, patchy fog, and spotty thunderstorms will shift eastward across the central Gulf Coast, Tennessee Valley, and southern Appalachians on Monday night and the day before Christmas. A batch of rain and thunderstorms may survive the trip to the southern Atlantic coast by Christmas Day. Anytime mild and moist air flows over a zone of cold and dry air, dense fog can form, and where the air remains cold enough, there can be some ice and snow concerns for travelers from the Great Lakes region on Monday, shifting to the central Appalachians, New England, and perhaps part of the Mid-Atlantic on Tuesday. There may be a bit of snow or a wintry mix in the region, from Boston, New York City to Philadelphia, and perhaps even D.C. for a time on Tuesday. Should the storm pushing eastward across the plains remain weak and grab significantly less moisture, the precipitation from the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes to the northeast will tend to be more spotty in nature. There can still be pockets of slippery travel from a bit of snow and ice. A plume of moisture may remain over the lower Mississippi and Ohio valleys on Christmas Day as one of the storms moves offshore over the Atlantic. The lingering moisture can lead to areas of rain, drizzle, and fog over parts of the south-central states. This moisture can expand northward into lingering chilly air over the Midwest once again later Christmas Day and into Thursday. Fog could be locally dense along portions of the central Gulf Coast Monday through Thursday next week. Now, today marks the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, with the start of astronomical winter starting at precisely 4:20 Eastern Time this morning. The winter solstice marks the shortest day of the year and the longest night. The solstice is also a signal of more daylight to come in the following days, and it's one of the origins of the modern winter holidays. It coincides with the summer solstice and the longest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere. Seasons change on Earth because the planet is slightly tilted on its axis as it travels around the sun. The December solstice marks the moment the sun shines at the Earth's most southern point, directly over the Tropic of Capricorn. The northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, and the southern hemisphere is pointed towards it. As a result, those in the northern hemisphere get less sunlight, meaning colder weather. On the December solstice, all locations south of the equator have day lengths greater than 12 hours. Meanwhile, all locations north of the equator, like the U.S., have days less than 12 hours long. The gradually shortened hours of sunlight that culminate into the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere can often have a winter doldrums sort of effect on folks. That's all for now. You can find more stories and regional forecasts at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back on Monday with more from AccuWeather.